Okay, so I have a little bit changed in plans with this pulley on this Powermatic 27 Super Shaper, and you didn't get to see it on video, but I had a moment there where I actually chipped the pulley, and I'll show it to you a little bit later. But I ordered a new pulley. It was worth the price of gold. It was $90 or $86 plus $10 and some cents freight. You know, I guess I knew it was a risk was going to happen, but that's one thing about aluminum, it is soft. And talking with the conversations I've had in the past with the distributor I used to get the parts from before they went under, the parts manager is always saying too that, you know, he had numerous conversations with Powermatic. Hey, why aren't you guys making these pulleys out of cast or you know, something other than aluminum? But I do know that I had a Grizzly G1026, and this is long before the YouTube days, at least before I started posting YouTube videos. It was a direct knockoff of the Powermatic number 26, all the way down to the little tiny poly V-belt that they ran, which was actually a metric V-belt. It was actually a poly belt. It was a V-belt, but it was smaller than even a 3VX belt, and it was more of like a kind of like a poly rubber plastic type belt. So but that thing worked great. The only reason I got rid of it is I got these two Powermatics, and then that's what the answering machine's for. Just one of them things that you know, everybody's got a different way of doing things, but you know, sometimes we learn from the companies overseas that they kind of learn from what the things that we do in the US are not working out, or they might have a different idea. So as far as I know, all the Taiwanese direct knockoff Powermatic 26s, whether it's a Grizzly, I think Shopfox has one, I think they're the same, and then a couple of other ones, Extrema, and there's a few other ones that look extremely identical. They all run this little tiny poly V-belt, and they all run steel pulleys. So, you know, it's one of them things that you kind of get what you pay for, but, you know, the Powermatic was a top-notch machine in its day, and you paid a lot of money for it compared to one of these overseas knockoffs, and the overseas knockoffs had better pulleys. So, anyways, so I'm going to set the camera up on the tripod here, and I'm actually going to set the new pulley up on the drill press here and show you how I'm going to drill and tap the new set screw holes. So here is the new two-step pulley, and I've actually been thinking that I got a local machine shop here about 20 minutes from me, and I'm wondering if they're going to actually be able to actually turn one of these for me, and then actually be able to cut the keyway as well, because I believe this would be 6061 aluminum. I could be wrong, but I would have to ask him. And if it is 6061 aluminum, I know that I can get some round stock off eBay very reasonable, and I have a couple cut. One is a spare, and then I'll probably end up doing the same thing to the other Powermatic 27 Super as well. So, but yeah, this is the new pulley. This thing here was $86, and I replaced the motor pulley once before too, because the original one I got, they pulled it off of the original three-phase motor from the place I got it from, and they managed to put a chip out here as well. So I ended up replacing that motor pulley, and the motor pulley was about $75, but that was about 10 years ago. So maybe the new motor pulley is more expensive than this one, but yeah. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I've got this vise here. I'm going to basically clamp it in this vise and try and line it up with the keyway underneath the drill bit. And probably what I'll do it off camera. I think I got a piece of long key stock, and I'll stick a piece of key stock in here and rest the pulley on top of that, hopefully, and let it balance itself, and then clamp it and consider it to be as vertical as I'm going to get this. There's not a whole lot of science to this. Basically, all that set screw is going to do is just hold that key in place, and at the same time it's going to basically kind of reassure clamping, securing the pulley should that nut come loose again. Alright. Okay, so I have aligned the pulley vertically in all directions, and it's centered in the groove, and it's also centered in the key slot. And I've got this vise bolted in place so it can't move. I got gentle pressure on this here, so this can't move. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill all the way through. I'm using a 1025 tap, or a 1024 tap, excuse me, and I've got some 1024 set screws as well. So I bought the right tap, and I also bought the matching drill bit. In this case here, it's a number 25, so we should be good to go. Alright, and I'm drilling this at a slow RPM. It's looks to be 400, so alright. Okay, so I've got one drilled, and bring it a little closer here. There we go. I'm debating if I want to put two in or not, and if I did, I'd put one 90 degrees to it. But I think for now I'm going to try this. If it doesn't work, the next one I will do two. I don't remember exactly what I saw in the other ones. I know that the shaft is partially threaded. I just don't know how far threaded it is. So I'm just going to stop with one right now. And like I said, this one will for surely go over the keyhole here. So, all right. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this, and I'm going to take it off the drill press to tap it. Okay, so I've got the hole drilled here. It's a number 25 drill bit that I used, and it's for a 1024 NC tap. And I picked up a new tap. I don't stock taps, so I buy them as I need it. And then if I bust one off, I just run over to my brother's and borrow one of his, and then replace mine. I've had really good luck with these Erwin taps. Erwin's got a good and bad reputation by some people. There's some things that Erwin I won't buy. I won't buy an Erwin saw blade, but I will buy Erwin wrenches and things like that, and the taps and drill bits. Especially the drill bits. I've had really good luck with the Erwin drill bits. Just the general purpose drill bits. But anyway, so this is the tap for a 1024 NC. And this is the Erwin T-handle holder. And the one thing I've learned about this holder the hard way is it does not grip very well. You have to get this pretty tight on here. So, alright. There's a big debate on tapping aluminum, whether you use cutting fluid or not. General rule of thumb is you'd always use cutting fluid. I have cutting fluid. It's just that what I found in the past when I was doing some aluminum work here for some jigs I made for one of my shapers, I found that the cutting fluid actually did more damage than good, for the simple reason that the chips would stick to the die or the tap, and it was hard to get them off. Even with compressed air, you kind of get them off, but you actually had to take a rag and wipe it. And then I started tapping without, and I had much better luck. And in fact, when I broke a tap off, I actually broke it with cutting fluid. The thing with aluminum is it just kind of balls up and it jams. So, alright. I could be doing this in a vise, but I'm just going to do this by eye. Again, doesn't have to be anything too precision. It's just more so to hold the set screw in place. Well, so far so good. Okay, it's starting to tighten up, so I'm going to back it out. Starting to look like a hole, threaded hole. So that's the one thing I've learned with aluminum, is to be patient, in and out numerous times. cut a little bit, back it out, clean it out, cut a little bit, back it out, clean it out. Because if not, you'll bust the tap. In aluminum. I don't know how that works, because you'd think that the tap should be stronger than the aluminum, but I did it. A little bit more yet, almost through. It's always important when you start the tap that you get it straight, take your time. And I am officially all the way through. So I'm as far as I need to go, so I'm just going to back it out, which will clean out the threads. There we go. And I have a tapped hole. And there we go. Now for the moment of truth. These set screws obviously didn't come with it, so these are just bought from a local hardware store. And find the right key. There we go. It's a 3/32 for those of you interested in knowing. And let's see how I did. There we go. There we have it. A set screw in an aluminum pulley. So the next step is I need to pull the spindle back out, and we'll replace this pulley. So this pulley is ready to go. And like I said, if this works just with one set screw, then if the other one comes loose on my raised panel shaper, I will be doing the exact same thing. So, but I'm seriously going to look into see if a local machinist can actually turn these for me, probably at half the cost, even with buying the raw material. And even if I didn't have the raw material, I'm assuming he'd get it or has some of it, or he could actually do it, or he actually might be able to turn this out of steel. So, yeah. Oh, one other thing. There's always talk as far as when to use Loctite. I'm not a real big believer in Loctite. Loctite definitely has its place, and there's obviously some other places where it is not as necessary. Normally, I would think that I would want to use some Loctite on this little set screw, and I might, but the problem is the only Loctite I have is the blue, which is the medium strength. I think I would need to use red, which is it's a lighter strength, I believe. I think it's red. I don't know, I have to look it up. But I know that blue is very common in medium, and I recently had built a couple aluminum jigs for one of my shapers, and I used some Loctite on there, and it definitely holds in aluminum over like a steel bolt. But the one thing is, that was a 5/16 bolt versus this is a 10/24. My fear is that the little set screw like this here, if I use the blue, that I might actually twist out the inside of the set screw as far as the head itself, and then not be able to get it out without having to drill it out. So if I did use a thread locking compound of some sort, I would probably use the light stuff, the stuff that's got real small strength. So anyways, so yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you, and we'll continue to fix this. Alright. Okay, so after some much needed cussing and swearing, I was able to get the old pulley off, and as I mentioned earlier, I took a chip out of it last time I was trying to take it off, which is henceforth why I ordered the new one, but they just, I don't know, aluminum is just not that great for something like this here. You can't get a hold of it. And resulted in using a gear puller, and I was really nervous it was going to screw the pulley up even worse than what it was, but it actually worked pretty well. So I've already taken the time to clean up the shaft here with some emery cloth, and I just want to try this pulley now as a dry fit. Yep, that fits nice. Okay, I will put some lithium grease on here, and also make sure the keyway is a little key right here. Not very big. It's kind of a special one. It's got rounded, two rounded faces on it. So I just want to clean it up. Nothing too precise. See, this emery cloth is worn out here pretty much, but it'll do the fine polish. I'm just referencing off the edge of the vise here as a semi-flat surface. Assuming any mechanics watching this can tell me I'm doing it wrong, and quite frankly, for this here, I don't really care. Okay, so alright. So the keyway sits on there nice. I'll slip the pulley over the keyway now. Perfect. And the one set screw is going to hit that keyway just fine. So, once again, to make my life easier in case I ever have to put bearings in this thing, which I'm sure I will after all the hammering I just did, I'm going to put a little lithium grease. Somebody asked me once, why do you prefer lithium grease? Well, it's a wood shop, and lithium grease doesn't attract dust as much as traditional petroleum-based grease. So I just put a real thin film on, get it all the way around, and just to kind of keep it from sticking. And I put some more on than that. I'll put a little dab in the yeah, they always say silicone's a bad thing in the wood shop, or any kind of shop that does finishing, just for a simple reason. Usually it affects how the finishes perform. And a company I worked for shortly after I graduated from high school, we used silicone lubricant on our woodworking machine tops all the time, and it never was an issue. Then I started working for a big company, and it became a very big issue. Silicone was banned in the plant. It was just a bad thing, and it might be that just with the newer finishes and everything, you know, it's just one of them things that nothing's compatible anymore, but I'm not sure. So, alright, just get a nice thin film in here. Let me see, I got plenty here. Okay. Just like that. So now, I don't really want to tighten the set screw yet. I want to put this spider washer. That's what you call a spider washer. As you'll see here shortly, one of these fingers will line up with one of these slots in this nut. Now, getting this nut loose has never been a problem, and I've really debated if I want to put Loctite in here, but this is already kind of a pain to get off, so I'm going to refrain from that. Okay, now I'm going to reposition this, and notice I took the time to wrap a cloth around the quill. Do the same thing now with the spindle, because I don't want to damage the spindle by clamping it in the vise, because now I want to make the shaft stationary, because I need to be able to tighten this Okay, so get this as tight, hand tight as I can. And this is the tricky part now. You want to get this nut tight enough as much as you can, so you got to turn it. Ideally it'd be nice to have a spanner wrench, but I don't. So I'm just going to do this gently. Until I can't anymore. And in hopes, almost, I get one of these fingers to line up. A little bit more. A little bit. There we go. Got a new finger to line up, so now let me bend this one up here and I'll show you what this does. Okay. And okay, so only one will line up usually. Oh, I can get another one here if I'm careful. Let's try this one. Maybe not. Yep, I got two, which I'm assuming one's going to break off eventually. I'll have to order one from Powermatic, and that washer will cost me 20 bucks, I'm sure. But so that's that. Now I've got the keyway here, and I had it. Here we go. I'm going to tighten up this Allen key, or this hex key here, and that will go on the keyway itself, which will also secure the pulley. Well, such a tiny little bastard. Okay, so that now should safeguard this from ever coming loose again. As you heard in the previous part of the video, you heard that rattle. That rattle was actually pretty minor. I've had one that went a lot worse than that, but surprisingly enough, the pulley wasn't as hard to take off of, and I didn't bust the pulley in the process. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to seriously see if a machine shop, a local machine shop here, can actually turn one of these out of steel. Not sure how much balancing is going to be an issue. I have noticed in some of the smaller pulleys that you buy, like the cast ones or the steel ones, they're not really, they don't have balancing divots, so it might not be an issue. And this one, aluminum one, doesn't have one either. So, all right, let's put this bad boy back in place. Let me show you these fingers I was talking about. Okay, so here you can kind of see let's get a little better angle here. These fingers, you've got this one bent up, and then this one bent up, and then right over the keyway we have that set screw. If this one comes loose again, I will definitely drill and tap another one, whether it's either on the keyway or 190 degrees to the original one. But I know the company I worked for when I was working in the door build department, we were getting these from a vendor that I was buying from as well. They're no longer in business, but they were drilling and tapping these with set screws for this exact same reason. So I've also seen where somebody's actually taken this pulley and replaced it with a single groove pulley, because they're only using one speed, and they're using a split taper or QD disc or QD bushing pulley. The problem is that this is a metric, more than likely a metric shaft, so you're going to have somebody more than likely custom bore out an existing split taper to fit this. Turned out to be, when I got these two shapers, that's exactly what had happened. The company I bought them from, they had the same problem with this pulley coming loose, and the shaft became so oblong and worn that they just put a split taper on there, And I don't know if it was because the shaft was so worn out or egg-shaped, or if somebody didn't get the split taper's board straight, because they would actually wobble and actually have quite a vibration. So yeah, let's put this back in and see what it sounds like.